Gordon, welcome to the To Keep Grinding podcast. Our message is to help encourage young people and athletes grinding to achieve something and keep going through the struggles, success, and all that stuff. First of all, introduce yourself for the people that don't know you.
First and foremost, thank you for having me on. Name is Gordon Hill. I am from Sicklerville, New Jersey, and man, uh, athlete, now financial advisor, uh, former college football coach at the Division I level, former retired NFL player, and I mean now, like I said, financial advisor, just trying to help some of these young student athletes change their life and be efficient while they're in some of their highest income earning years.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mhm.
All right, Gordon. All right, we're gonna go into your early football career. Take us back to the beginning. When did you start playing football, and when did it become serious for you?
5 years old. 5 years old was when I started. Funny enough, Coach Bill, shout out to Bill Belton, a good friend of mine.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, a lot of people don't know him and I played Little League together. And my second year, I guess both of our second years, we won the championship. We only let up, I think, 3 touchdowns the whole year. Bill was
Mm.
the most dominant player I ever seen in my life. I've actually wrote a book, but that's on Amazon called That's Life, and he's in chapter 2 called Young Kings. And what I explained to Bill in that book, and what I share with everybody is he was the first person to show me what elite was. And I'm so thankful that I got to experience as somebody who was elite at such a young age, and more importantly, the confidence that he played with. But that being said, that's when I started playing for sure. Yeah, 5 years old. From there, kind of took it all the way up to the NFL. But yeah, 5 years old was when I first started.
Okay. Dang, Coach Bill's like that.
Yeah, he
Dang.
was he was the best player in the young age I've ever seen, and it made it. He was the best offensive and defensive player I've ever seen, especially when we're young. But he ended up winning defensive player of the year, and I ended up winning offensive player of the year. And he honestly deserved both. I just didn't think they could give him both of them. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What
okay.
was your mindset going from high school athlete to college football?
Okay, so this is actually nobody really has asked me this before. So high school to college, so I went to St. Joe's Hampton, and funny enough, or ironically enough, a lot of people don't know I went to St. Augustine Prep actually my freshman year. And again, I
Mm,
bring Coach Bill in to the situation because him now being at St. Augustine, we kind of been talking about that lately, and I've been actually visiting St. Aug these past couple of weeks. I was actually just there on Friday, and yeah, I was there my freshman year. It just wasn't the right fit for me. And I ended up going to St. Joe's, Hamilton. Now, as far as my mindset that jumped from high school to college, I'll just tell y'all this: I was extremely under recruited,
mm,
um, and that's my personal opinion. But then a lot of the coaches that recruited me, that I later on saw when I became a college football coach, they all said, "Man, we totally missed on you." So it was reassuring that I did have the right thought process around myself. But I'll tell you
Yeah.
this: in high school, I had a lot of friends. Bill's a great example, and we've actually, spoke about this. But a lot of my friends who are three, fours, and five stars coming out of high school, they were getting offers their sophomore, their junior, their senior year, and a lot of self doubt started creeping in for me. And I'll never forget. I remember being at the barbershop one time, and I won't say any names because you guys know some of them. Um, they still, and again, this isn't Coach Bill. He wasn't here in this situation, but some other guys who are now coach. And I just remember, you know, I think it was a young version of myself, not necessarily hating, but not understanding why my process wasn't the same as theirs. I was, especially senior year, finished second in scoring in South Jersey. My team won a state championship over at St. Joe's.
mm.
I'm on a team with some great players, guys that went to Virginia, went to UVA, guys who ended up playing at JMU, like these bigger schools. And I was doing my part. And I remember being in a barbershop after the season, or during the season, I'm sorry. And I remember just feeling like, man, I'm being just as efficient as these guys. Like something has to be wrong. And I'm going to come back to that story, kind of college during the college times in a second. But basically, I remember going into my senior year, we had a scrimmage against Mainland, and one of my friends, Kwan Lewis. I got a toss. I scored. I ran somebody over for like 40 yards and scored. And I never forget. I had so much hurt in my heart, like during that season. Like seriously, like not just motivation, like hurt in my heart, like malice. And used to take, and I kind of want to send this message to a lot of these young student athletes in high school. I used to take offense so seriously, and that was the first time I really started taking defense seriously. And then come to find out, safety is what I end up being, or that rover position end up being what I played in college and helped me get to the NFL. So I kind of tell all y'all, don't just pick one side of the ball. Like you may think you're getting recruited on one side of the ball. You just never know, what God or universe or what your plan or your destiny is. So take every snap, every opportunity, um, as an opportunity. Now, as far as that jump, going when I ended up going to Sacred Heart University, I was very under recruited. Like I said, I only had really two offers, Albany and Sacred Heart University, so two D1 double A's. And essentially, I ended up going to Sacred Heart, and I promised myself and I promised my coach, I said, because I'm going D1 double A, I promise you, my high school coach, I said, I promise you I'm starting because I knew I was better than where I was going. This wasn't like a self-belief or like a delusion. I knew because I was practicing against Coach Bill. I was practicing against the Demir Birds of the world. I'm practicing against guys going Pac-10. I'm going to guys ACC, Big Ten, and I'm winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew it. It was more a matter of just putting it on the field. So yeah. So that was kind of my mindset. I'm starting, and I did. I have the most recorded snaps in the history of Sacred Heart University ever. I played every snap, y'all.
Man.
They had you playing both sides.
No, not both sides. Obviously, funny enough, a lot of people don't know this story, and I'll share this with y'all. I've never told this. When I walked into camp the first day, okay, August, right? First day of camp, August. I actually had a offensive jersey in my locker room, but they had told me about 2 weeks because they just recruited me as an athlete. They said, "Hey, you could play running back or you could play safety. We don't know yet." They ended up
Yeah.
getting a guy actually from South Jersey, Sean Bell, phenomenal running back, all South Jersey, running back from Bishop Eustace, ended up signing late. And once he ended up signing, they said, "All right, you're gonna play defense." But I only found out about 2 weeks prior, so I was kind of training for both positions. That being said, when I got there, I actually had an offensive jersey underneath like my nameplate with Gordon Hill. So I'm thinking like, oh, maybe they changed their the plan, and it ended up just being a mistake. So what if, I ended up swapping with the other number 12. I was the number 12 my freshman year. And I guess I kind of laugh and think like, what if I was actually supposed to play running back? Like I never talked to my coaches about that. I just did it and swapped with the other number 12, and the rest is really history.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that really happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was almost like the first Travis Hunter. Maybe he had the number 12 too.
Yeah, I had the number 12, and it's ironic going into my senior year. It's so funny when we would go on recruit visits. Coach Gardner, I got to shout out Coach Gardner, who's the offensive coordinator at Sacred Heart right now, and I see a lot of guys in South Jersey getting offers from Sacred Heart at the moment.
Hmm.
So they probably have talked to Coach Gardner, but he's kind of like a big brother to me. Funny enough, when I was playing and when I coach, he still tells recruits all the time the best running back we ever had at Sacred Heart University plays defense all of the time. And
Mm.
my last game when we played, my last game, we were in the playoffs, meaning national playoffs, ranked top 25. We were playing, Fordham, number one offense in the nation. Actually, Saquon Barkley's offensive coordinator at Penn State was the OC at the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, ball like, and then he ended up going to like Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Like he's a great,
Hmm.
I think, or he was Oregon's, I think, OC this year. Like something wild. I forget his name right now. It'll come to me, but that was the head coach at the time. And all I'm going to say is that game, my coaches literally say, "Hey, this could be your last game ever. Go back and kick return." And
Mm.
I end up bringing like a kick return 70 yards, not for a touchdown, brought it to the 25, on the other side of the
Hmm.
field, and we scored the
Yeah.
next play. So they knew I had it in me. It was more a matter of like, I want to make sure that we got you for defense, like what we recruited you for. So
Hmm.
Hmm.
yeah, could have did it, but it was a matter of just like need, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good though.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Uh,
Our next question is, how did your perspective of the game change from being a player to a coach?
I really appreciated the small intricacies of the game. I know that sounds probably cliche, but I started understanding the macro, like why things matter so much. I think when you're a player, you just think about the micro, those small movements on the field, but it's just so much more strategy involved. And I guess you guys kind of get a glimpse of that. I don't know if Madden still does it, but remember there was like a kind of like a coach version of Madden where you could just basically be a coach
Yeah,
and not actually actually play the game. It's very much like that. Thinking a little bit more about personnel, formations, position flexibility with your players, depth. You start thinking that way. I personally didn't necessarily love it because I feel like it takes the energy and a little bit of that love away from the
yeah,
game. I was one of the booth guys, so I was up top, up in the booth, and I'm a energy guy. I like to be on the field. So for me, it just changed my perspective. Where again, I'll go back and say like that macro. You think on a larger scale, um, versus thinking about those small moments of like, hey, I need you inside leverage here, I need you outside leverage here. If we're talking defensive backs or maybe a receiver's alignment or whatever the case may be. So you think more as like a manager versus a player. And
yeah,
I think the hard part going from an actual player to a coach is you feel as though you can't affect the game as much. At least that's how I felt personally. And I'm sure there's some coaches that would have a contrary opinion and say, no, you actually can affect the game a lot more than you can as a player. But there's something about that control of, hey, I'm gonna make this tackle. I don't know what my teammates are gonna do, but
yeah.
I know if worst come to worst, I'm gonna make this tackle. And yeah, yeah. I think that's the biggest switch is not necessarily, I guess for me, not feeling all the way in control of controlling what's actually happening on the game on the field itself.
Mm,
Hmm.
okay. Do you think coaching came easier to you, or was it like a big like adjustment that you had to adjust to?
I think it came harder to me, and this is why.
Mm,
Because of my ability on the field and the level I played at and where I coached again. So I coached at Sacred Heart University, so I went back to my alma mater.
mhm,
What I found was hard was because my ability as a player, I struggled not communicating, but I felt as though there was a skill gap between
mm,
myself and the players I was coaching.
yeah,
So I could tell them to do a certain thing, but if they're not physically able to do it because they maybe don't run 4 or 5, because maybe they just don't have the instincts like I had, that was where I had a little bit of trouble. I'm teaching them the correct things. They're understanding it, but they're still not executing at the level I needed them to execute. I think what would be a better situation possibly for me would have been coaching at like a Power 4 team, right? A Penn State, or Oregon, a Texas. So then I know those guys are just as fast as me, just as instinctual as me. And that's I think where the little bit of that friction was. Now, honestly, did some of those guys get to that point? Yeah, junior, senior year, they got to those point. Um, I'm going to shout out like a Alam Horn from St. Joe's, Hampton, Sicklerville guys. They were phenomenal. Junior, senior year, they made that leap, where it made sense to them. They're like, okay, I'm seeing what you're seeing, and I'm seeing it as fast as you're seeing it. Especially as you get to college and you get to pro, it's more of these micro moments in which determine like how fast you get to the ball. Felix, a great example. I've watched your film. I like when you come downhill on certain things, but I'm still saying like, you got to see it a little faster. Now this is the coach me talking, but no,
Yeah.
seriously, like you're not seeing the wrong thing. I need you to see it 1 second faster. And like
Okay.
me and you offline could talk about like, hey, what are you reading and why are
Yeah.
you reading it? So little things like that, like that's the difference,
Okay.
mm,
which made it a little bit harder. But yeah,
All right. Okay. We're gonna shift towards more like NFL and nowadays.
okay,
So, what's most misunderstood about NFL, like the game, and what's most misunderstood about like your finances and money and stuff? Because everybody thinks once you make it, like you make it, but a lot of
yeah,
players go broke and stuff like that. So,
exactly. So let's talk about the game first. So the first thing I need everybody to understand with the NFL is it's work. Like you're going to work. That's your profession now.
yeah,
It's not all fun and games. And it also very much varies depending on where you get picked up. So where you get drafted, if you're a priority free agent or if you're a normal free agent. And I guess just to break down the free agency part too, just for clarity for people who may not know, there's an allotment of money that each team gets after the draft that the NFL provides, and they're able to spend that money and basically bid on different players that they weren't able to get after or during the draft. So basically, a team can go to you and say, "Hey, we're going to give you $20,000 signing bonus." You may have, in my case, I had three different offers. I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I had San Diego Chargers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's just like what you maybe hear or think the stock market is like, right? When the stock, where people are
Yeah.
calling in, hey, can I get this price? Hey, can I? That's literally what it's like. So it's your
Mm-hmm.
agent, you're in the room, it's your agent on the phone, it's the team calling your agents, hey, this team's about to call you. I'm going to pass you over to them now. Bang. You're on the phone with them for however long. That's exactly how it works, right? So going back to answer the question, it's work. If I'm gonna speak from my experience, what I saw was a Melvin Gordon, for example, he could make 20 mistakes. First round pick, big money. They're
Yeah.
not going to waste their investment, right? Myself, I can't make one mistake. Okay. So I have to be a lot more locked in than him because they only spent rookie minimum. At the time, my rookie year minimum was $575,000. Signing bonus was $7,000, right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand, like, I'm way more disposable than a Melvin Gordon. He can do stuff off the field. I can't get in trouble off the field. So all these things you have to keep in mind. He went to Wisconsin. I went to Sacred Heart. Okay, so there's levels, very much so. So when I step on the field, I have to come in a little more strategic, bring my A game. And then don't get me wrong, coming from a smaller school, I had that chip on my shoulder. I was there. Rookie minicamp, I remember guys, Arkansas, Texas, all these, and I trust me, like I remember that's the first practice you have after OTA. So I remember dominating and my D coordinators being like, okay, Sacred Heart, like because I just was ready to go, man. I knew I had
Yeah.
it. So but that's the biggest thing is you have to come like you working. This is no all the glitz and glamour and everybody, oh, you made it and all your friends is proud of you. No, no. You can get cut any day. There is no guaranteed contracts
Yeah.
in the NFL. This ain't baseball. I should say maybe no guaranteed money, except the guaranteed money that you sign in your contract. But everybody else, you want a day-to-day contract. Please understand. Even the veterans. So, yeah, like if you do something off the field, and you guys have probably seen it, somebody do something off the field that was wrong, even a vet, they just cut them.
Yeah.
So that's the approach, for sure. From like a mindset standpoint, from a playing standpoint, I'll say this to you: it's football. It's football. I never forget. Throw those rankings, especially you guys going into college now. Throw those rankings coming out of high school and all that out the window. Everybody's there now. Nobody cares how many stars you have. Just like when you come out of high school and you get to college, nobody cares how many stars you have. You got to put it on tape.
Yeah.
NFL is even more so like that. Like nobody cares, right? So
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, it's just ball. And I'll never forget, I built a real good relationship with Brandon Flowers. And the corner used to be on the Chiefs, San Diego Chargers, went to Virginia Tech like 4 or 5 time, maybe 6 time Pro Bowler, All Pro, I think 4 times. You
Mm-hmm.
know, he talked
Yeah.
to me. I remember he pulled me to the side before our first game we were playing Dallas Cowboys, and he goes, "Hey G," he's like, "Hey, remember everything you did in high school and college, and the reason you're here?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." He goes, "Hey, this is the secret, and I'm gonna tell y'all the secret." He said, "It's the same. Do the same thing. This is the same thing, just like that." He said, "Guess what? The secret is." The cameras make us look bigger, faster, stronger. We're the same guys. He said, he said, it's just a barrier to entry. So people would think it looks harder and unattainable. But it's the same game we play. It's still 100 yards. Now, I say that, and I'm gonna pause for a second and say, don't get me wrong. There's some guys out there though, you
There
know,
is. There
like
definitely is.
like Megatron is still Megatron, and like you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's still
Yeah.
some guys that you like, all right, hold on now. Hold on, he
Yeah.
he got it. Yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, it's just football. Number one athlete in the nation was on my team. Coming out of Texas. He ended up playing the same position me, safety. Probably I'm faster, stronger, bigger. One thing he was super smart, but like I thought to myself like that's the number one safety coming out of high school that played 3 years at Texas. Like it does
Yeah.
not matter, y'all. It's just ball.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. I don't get, yeah. So that's definitely a thought process there. But yeah, you come into work for sure. Be about your business. It's fun for sure. You get all the, the free food and the and the training and the all of it, man. You get all of it, but at the end of the day, you got to understand that yeah, it's work, but it's football at the end of the day. Yep.
Okay, that's good to hear. The
Mhm.
secret too.
Yeah, for
Yeah, a
sure.
big part of it is just confidence, having confidence in yourself.
100%. 100% is confidence in yourself. Um, That's big. That's big. And also, I think I'll just add this is like being a student in the game because that playbook gets bigger. That playbook from college, which we had a pretty big playbook. I'll say our D coordinator, Coach Dave Wisman, pushed us from that standpoint. But our playbook with motions in alone, like one play may have three plays in it because corners travel in the NFL. So you can be in a cover three. I'm gonna get technical and coach mode for you, but if you in
Hmm.
cover three in the NFL, some colleges do it too, but corners don't travel usually. So if we're in cover three, that corner is going to stay on that side of the field. In the NFL, if you go from a one receiver to the left, one receiver to the right, and now we get to a twin set, both receivers, the X and the zero on the same side, that corner is going to follow him, so it looks like it's man, but it's still cover three.
Oh
Everybody's
yeah, yeah. Disguising
yeah,
the coverage.
exactly. Everybody's responsibility just changes. So now that corner that's in the slot is now the seam player in cover three.
Mm.
Mm.
So that safety that was on that side to the twin side, if two high safeties, he was the seam player. Corner comes over. That
He's
safety's
the
not a
deep
middle.
third player.
You go, and then the other safety's the deep third player on the other side.
Oh wow.
Because
Okay.
then we had Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson at the time, um,
Wait,
Peyton
what
Manning,
year? What year was this?
2015. So I
That's
think
prime NFL.
yeah, so it was Rivers, Mahomes. I think Rivers, Mahomes, Manning, or maybe Mahomes was like a year after, but. My point is like Russell Wilson and Peyton Manning and then Flowers are not Flowers. Phillip Rivers are all in the same division. Like if you didn't disguise your coverage, they're gonna kill you. They're
Yeah.
gonna rip you apart. Like you got to disguise something, and they're all veterans at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like yeah, man. So yeah.
All
So
right.
that yeah. So just to finish that piece, I guess is that playbook was like 320 plays. So it was a lot, but you can do it, y'all. When you get paid for this, trust me, it's not as hard as you think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to the financial things.
Yep.
What made you become a financial advisor, and what do you do and provide for anybody?
Okay. So I'm gonna start with I've always kind of been introduced or known about financial advising because my father has been a financial advisor and still is for 40 plus years. Okay, so I've always been exposed to it. What made me want to make the leap to become a financial advisor was perfect timing and some two events that were catalysts, and I'm going to get into it. The first one was, and I'm not going to say his name just out of respect to him and what he has going on right now, but a former friend of mine, also from the area, made it to the NFL, and he easily cleared over $1 million after taxes, easily after about 3, 4 seasons in the NFL. After he was broke so much so where he was stealing money from everybody he could steal money from, just scamming,
Damn.
just straight scamming. He's living at his baby mama's mom's house, and his baby mom and him are not even together at the moment. Like that's how bad it is.
Wow.
Mm.
Um, Again, don't have a relationship with him, don't know what's going on, haven't talked to him in years, but that's the first catalyst. The second catalyst is um, you guys know him as well, but I'll just say another friend who played in the SEC. I'll just say played in the SEC. Um, they end up getting locked up. Okay, is now being a vital asset to the community here in South Jersey, in the football world, doing great things, being a positive influence, and essentially they got locked up. This is why it was surrounding drugs. Okay, and the reason was because before there was NIL and players are getting paid. Just so you know, and if you didn't see the coach Ojoan, LSU's coach that was the coach when they won the national championship,
Yeah.
with him, he just straight up said it on the interview. He goes like, "Yeah, we were paying the players back before there was NIL." So I'm not the first to report that, but
Oh my
you can go
gosh.
see, yeah, you can go see the interview. I'm not selling it on anybody, but Yeah, they were all getting paid under the table, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
all tax-free money. So a lot of players were just used to that. This
Yeah.
person was used to that. Again, starting in the SEC. When he didn't make it to the NFL, all right, when he did make it to the NFL, he was used to that tax-free money, and a lot at that point, at that moment too. He was honest though. He even said it to me like, "Listen, I'm trapping. If I don't make it." He was very close to that world. A lot of family members were locked up, dead, jail, whatever.
Mhm.
Got caught up. What happened happened, and what made me want to become a financial advisor is because I went to go visit him one time when he was locked up, and I got to the glass, where the phone is at, and you waiting for him to get to that glass.
Yeah.
I just started. I'll be honest with y'all. I was tearing up. I think I just told him this story about a year ago, but I just started tearing up because, man, I grew up middle class here in Sicklerville. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I didn't grow up in it like that, so I never really seen anything like that. And I remember like telling myself, "Oh man, like get it together, G, get it together." But I was hurt. Like as a friend, I was hurt. And I talked to him, and he had great spirits. But when I got home, that was the catalyst. That the next day, I downloaded my study material to start studying to become a financial advisor. And that's why I do it. Now,
Mhm.
I talked about perfect timing. At the same time, while I was getting done my studies to become a financial advisor, NIL was just coming about. It was like year one, year two, and I just finished my materials. So to put it, I guess to wrap things up, basically, it was like perfect timing in that sense where I was done coaching college football, and I started studying, and NIL came about, and that was essentially what made me want to become a financial advisor. I didn't want to see any kids y'all age, anybody younger than me, make hundreds of thousands. A lot of your friends, believe it or not, guys you play with, are going to make millions. Some of the
Yeah.
guys I work with, like literally, are my clients from the area. I don't want them to be in bad shape. I don't want that to happen. I want something to show for it. And I'm not talking about a car that's depreciating in value. I'm not talking about a bust down Rolex that once you put diamonds on it, it actually loses value. But most people don't know that either,
Oh,
right?
really?
Right. It loses value. When they talk about plain Jane, if you're going to get a Rolex, not giving advice, don't put diamonds on it. It holds the resale value. Or as it gets older, if they stop making that model, it actually appreciates in value. So, anyway, I just didn't want them to be in the same scenario where I'm visiting somebody in jail because of money. And I say that to my friend. He's not a bad person. He just got used to a lifestyle in the fast money, right? So that's why I got into it. Now, what do I do? When somebody says financial advising, I'm advising them on their finances. I know that sounds basic,
Mhm.
but essentially helping them not only on picking maybe certain investments, whether that be like an ETF. These are investment vehicles, an ETF, a stock, a mutual fund, things like that, right?
Mhm.
Not only do we talk about and figure out like the risk tolerance, not only are we going to talk about, how much they want to invest or what their just overall plan is. You know, do they want to buy a house at a certain time? And this is where financial planning, which is something a little different than the financial advising, go hand in hand, but they're kind of planning is pretty specific. It's more holistic. It's like, what is your overall plan? Okay, well, I want to buy a car in 3 years. Well, all right, let's find out how we make sure that can happen without it being like such a surprise. We can actually plan financially for it. Or I want to buy a house when I'm 25. Okay, cool. This is how much you made in NIL. Okay, maybe you made it to the league, maybe you didn't. So that process maybe gets sped up or maybe slowed down. All of those things. So we actually have a plan. We're not guessing. Okay. I think Deion Sanders said something like, a goal without a plan is just a wish.
Yeah.
That's basically what a lot of these guys are doing. They're just wishing like, oh, it's gonna be, I'm gonna be good, but like, well, what's the plan? Where is your money actually going? And then
Yeah.
investing. I know we can get into investing specifically, but like a lot of people, truth be told, again, a lot of your friends from the area and people your age don't even know what investing is. And essentially, it's compounding your money by investing in companies that you buy products or use products for already. So as their stock price goes up, okay, as their stock price goes up, if you bought 100 shares of that company, right, and the stock price essentially goes up, well, then the value of the money that you put in your investment also goes up. So you're making money. When people say you're making money while you're asleep, like that's what investing does. But what a lot of people are just doing is they're keeping money in a checking account and
Mhm.
they're literally losing money because they bought the car. Prom just came up, right? I seen a lot of guys. They rented. They it was rented. I get it. They rented the Lambo truck. Okay, but that's some no. It's funny. Hey, it's funny till it's not, right? It's
Mhm.
funny till it's not, right? Like
Yeah,
I get it. That's rented. I get it. That's a good time, whatever. But essentially, if they're buying the designer shoes, the clothes, but they're not, but their money's not working for them, and their money's not making money, well then it's literally going opposite. It's going negative every time that
Yeah.
they use that checking account.
yeah,
Do something to replenish it, whether it's, again, we could talk assets, buying a home, buying a stock, like whatever the case may be, put it in a mutual fund, whatever the plan is. But that is essentially what I do. In addition to, and I think this may be even more important, um, anybody in the NIL space, they're 1099, meaning they're self-employed. So they have to pay self-employment tax, which is 15.3%. Okay. Essentially, when you're W-2 or you work for a company, they do that for you. Okay. So that tax is not on you, it's not on you, but a lot of your friends who are in this NIL space, they have to pay that. And there's business structures from a tax standpoint that they can actually set up through somebody like myself, and they're not setting them up. So they're paying thousands more dollars. I promise you, yesterday I had a meeting with somebody both of you guys know. Um, Meeting with them yesterday with the accountant that I work with and myself. Just this
Yeah.
year alone, they're going to save $50,000 alone that they're not giving to the IRS.
Damn.
50,000. Like another kid hasn't doesn't have some of this stuff set up. It's a couple of them. It's a couple of guys. Again, I'm going to protect my clients, but it's like just that decision to actually have a tax efficient strategy, setting up a solo 401k, more importantly, set up an LLC, setting up an S corporation, right? Or taking your LLC, filing as an S corp, or taking an S corp election, creating payroll, having your CPA actually create payroll for you so you get paid like everybody else every 2 weeks instead of lump sum, because all these guys in NIL are getting lump sums of 200, 300, 400, $500,000, y'all.
really?
Damn.
Straight cash to their checking account. Yes. Straight cash. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Or it might come like 200,000, another 100,000 in 3 months, and then you get another 100,000, something like that. But
Mhm.
what's happening is once that money hits your checking account and you don't have it in a business account that's set up with your LLC and payroll, they're automatically getting hit with self-employment tax. So
Mm,
to put it simply, that's where this other kid who does have the structure and works for me, we saved him $50,000 this year alone.
wow.
That's the power of just having a team, having a structure. If you go when you go to the when you're sick, you go to the doctor, right?
Yeah.
When you have something with your teeth, you go to the dentist, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that for your money?
Mm,
Mm. Mm.
okay.
You have to think about it because again, you didn't go to dentistry school. You didn't
Yeah.
go you didn't take your school to become a doctor. You trust those people, all those things. You also didn't go to school for money, or you didn't pass exams for money, right? So if you know, as just a person, and especially in African American and a lot of minority communities, if we want to be real, like we have the least education, and a lot of my student athletes, if we really want to just even talk about like the football community specifically, man, we have the least education, as a people on financial literacy and understanding, and it shows. It shows in the moves we make. The things we don't buy assets, but we have
Yeah.
so much buying power right now in the young generation. But I can't even blame some of and that's not my goal here. My goal is to uplift and educate, but I can't blame an 18-year-old kid if maybe their parent maybe didn't have the education or have the understanding or financial literacy of what to do. And I do want to say this. I have even seen people that I've worked with or had a couple meetings with. A parent is hesitant to even take a meeting with me, right? Because their hesitance or their upbringing are surrounding money. So it's almost like generationally, it's hurting the kid that's 18 and they're making more than their parents.
Yeah.
And I hate to see that because, again, I just mentioned just this year alone, helping a kid save $50,000 just because they had a conversation, set up a business structure again, set up the LLC, set up the file S corp election, set up payroll, connect it with the CPA, that I work with, or even a CPA that they maybe have that I work with. From there, I set up their solo 401k with them. So it's the first $72,000, at least in 2026, from a tax standpoint. Set up a brokerage account. So they have all this money that's working for them, right? Yeah, they can still. I'm not saying, guys, I want y'all to understand too. I'm not saying don't ball. I'm not saying have a fun time, but let's pay us first.
Yeah.
Like when are you gonna pay you first?
Hmm.
But you paid Louis,
Mm.
but you got the go yard bag. You did though. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
Like, but when are you going to pay you? They don't. And I just saying, yo, pay you first. Then okay, with the amount that we with your team, okay, your team, your financial advisor, myself, your CPA, and everything is making sure that you're paying yourself first. Whatever that remaining is, then go have fun. You're a kid, do it. But let's make sure we have some type of system to make sure, hey, just in case you don't make it to the league, it's something there to show for it. So you can buy a house. And I'm gonna just say this to you. Let's watch and let's see how many. This is kind of a challenge, like respectfully. How many friends that y'all know? Because I know how much a lot of them are making. I've been in the meetings with Jordan, the GM of Clemson, y'all. I've been there. I talked to Coach at Penn State. Why am I forgetting his name? Coach Franklin. I'll tell y'all, I'm sorry to rant, but Coach Franklin has straight up told me to my face. He said, G, I have a kid right now who's a starter for me. He asked me for his NIL money for next year because he can't pay his tax bill.
Mm.
Wow.
Like that's happening, y'all. That is happening. Like it's really funny until it's not. And I just don't want that. Y'all know why I do this. I told y'all already. Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be like alarmist. That's not the goal here. It's just like, man, have the conversation and make sure you have a plan in place because the high school coaches usually aren't doing it, which that's the conversation that I'm starting to have with some of them. Hey, let me just come and talk to some of the kids. Give them some games. They don't even have to work for me. I'm sorry, work with me. And that's another thing. I need to get the kids to understand I work for you. That's a whole nother conversation. But like I work for you. I'm trying to help you out, right? Um,
Yeah.
but kids with now agents and financial advisors and accountants, like they build the team. Build the team. And again, it doesn't have to be with me necessarily. I just want to spread the message. I mean, I'd love that, being a former athlete and knowing what these spaces look like, but at least build a team in some capacity. Like I just at least say that, man, please do, because it's going to help in the long run. Because I just want us to be in good shape. And this is my challenge. I'm gonna finish that point here. Let's see in about 4 or 5 years, some of the kids that you guys know from the area who sign these bigger deals. Let's see how many of them. Not that you even will know, because we don't know people's lives, but how many of them at 22 or 23 own homes because they're making enough to own a home. Pay it in cash, technically, which not is not the best idea, but they're making that much. But let's see how many of them have it. I even give them more time, 25. They have enough to buy them, but let's see who actually has it left. It's going to be
Okay.
interesting. That's a little like case study. I'm
It
gonna
is.
revisit it in about 4 or 5 years, but let's see.
Uh,
Let's
Okay.
see. Hmm.
What
I got a
what's
question.
the oh my fault.
But I'm gonna ask a question real quick. Do you think it's easier to like rock out and stay with your parents than getting it on your own, like getting your own place or getting your own apartment and stuff like that? Do you think it's better to stay with your parents longer?
Time frame? You talking post college? What's the thought
I'll
process?
say, I'll say like, mm, we'll go like during college.
So during college, I mean, if you're staying home, if you're staying in an area, I'd say within 30 minutes or something like that, then I think from an efficiency standpoint, yes. I also think a big thing to consider is college experience. So let's say we lived 20 minutes from Rutgers.
Hmm.
Okay, let's say us being in Jersey. Um, if we live 20 minutes from Rutgers, I probably for the experience of the college experience, I probably would live on campus.
Mm.
Okay. Is that the most financially literate or smart decision? Probably
Yeah.
not. You could save a lot of money for sure, just on the room and board, right? But there is something about the college experience. And what I mean by that is the networking that you can do. Not that you can't do it, not that you can't do it living at home and then kind of commuting for campus or for class or things like that. You can for sure, but there's something about those conversations, late night, dorm room, playing the game, having fun, meeting people, networking. There is value add there, and I think that's essentially what college is at this point. You not only learning about yourself, but also the networking capabilities, especially at a bigger school. Now, I will say at a smaller school, I don't see that much of a value add for me personally. I think once you go to a bigger, again, about a Rutgers and up. I think it does make sense because I think that's the biggest value add for colleges, networking and meeting people and rubbing elbows with people who maybe have the same thought process as you or different or the same goals or even some different goals, but you can add value to maybe something they're building, a company, a product, a brand, whatever it may be. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
You on mute, Flex. You on mute.
Oh shoot, I'm muted. Oh, my fault. Our closing question, we're going to wrap it up. It's going to be, you built off-season finance around the idea that the window is short, but the principles are forever. What does this mean to somebody hearing it for the first time? What does that mean in practice?
I mean, the window is short is pretty self-explanatory. In this NIL space, you have about 3 to 5 years, right? I guess six if you want to be technical. If you get a medical red shirt, a normal red shirt, and then you do your full 4 years. Um, but the window is short in the sense of out of, people are living 80, 90, 100 years old. But from a athletic standpoint, this could be the end of a lot of people's careers. It's a lot of, again, we know the numbers, right? We know the
Yeah,
numbers for NBA. We know the numbers for, y'all have heard about the 1%. Like you guys know it. And I think that's one of the big things that concerns me as a financial advisor. What I'm seeing is everybody's spending, like everybody's making it. Like your whole friend group isn't making it, y'all. Right?
yeah,
Because you're competing
Yeah.
against Cali, you're competing against Texas, Florida, Georgia, Bama. Like, I'm happy to see everybody doing their thing, but man, when I see on Instagram, and guys, I'm tapped in, y'all. Please please let me let y'all know, and I hope everybody understands. Like, I'm tapped in, I'm seeing it, right? Because as a financial advisor, what I'm realizing, I'm starting to become a little bit more of like Unc. Okay, because I go to the weight room with some of my athletes. They know I still, squatting 400, cleaning three and some change. Like I'm still in it. Okay. So I'm still seeing what they're doing on Instagram and sometimes I'm like, ooh, like okay, the system's in place. Even my student athletes that I work for. But at the same time, the window is short. And I just want them to maximize it. And I actually had just recorded something on Instagram. It hasn't even went live yet, but I guess, and I kind of asked y'all too. It's like, when did the when did the goal change? And what I mean by that is, I thought it was like to make sure mom and dad and like the family was good.
hmm
I feel like that. I feel like that. I feel like that changed.
me
Yeah.
too.
What's your thought? Because I feel like it's now flex for people that y'all don't even really know to make it look like you got
Yeah,
money. And the crazy part is they're getting money, guys. I'm be real. A lot of them are getting money, but after taxes, it ain't that much. And then you buy a watch as a freshman, and you only making 300,000. That watch might have been 30. I trust me. I didn't heard of 30. I heard of 45 when parents have called me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, that's how much in taxes you owe. Like, you don't actually have that much money anymore.
Hmm.
Like, it's gone. Like,
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
gone, right? And then, like, what I
Yeah.
say, then you bust it down, it loses value when you do that. So now you
Hmm.
reach like you're gonna be mad because that it ain't 45, it's about 30 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
Don't let me get technical, because diamonds technically aren't as rare as gold. Go look up
Hmm.
the value of gold versus the diamond. The actual material itself. Gold is the 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 most valuable
Yeah.
of those. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But yes, the window is short. And if we again we if I come back to it, like, we know where everybody's not making it. So why are we acting like everybody's making it? Why not be a little bit more tapped in? with an accountant and financial advisor. Why not do that? Stack now.
Yeah.
Then, okay, if you make it to the league, then go ahead and get the thing because now the numbers jump a lot higher. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I feel like we're just doing this backwards. And like you said, you guys see it. Y'all see it. Like
Yeah.
I don't have to be an adult and see it coming from a financial advisor standpoint. You guys are saying like, yeah, people just flexing like, and again, it is tough. And I do have these conversations where it's like it is their money, but it'll be going if we keep moving the way we are, right? Um, Now the principles are forever. You asked about that phase of kind of what off-season finance and what I'm building there is the principles are the thought process. And I kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier. Think about when you first started football or baseball, all right?
Yeah.
Maybe when you come in as a freshman, your thought process surrounding the game, the foundation, the culture. Here we go. The culture of the team, right?
Hmm.
Maybe you get there and you see some guys that kind of lackadaisical, they're not working as hard and things like that. But then maybe you have a younger, maybe Felix, maybe you're about to be an upperclassman now. So maybe you're starting to set the standard, and that freshman that's coming in, you kind of like a big bro to him, and you're setting the standard. So when I say principles, it's really the standard. Like what financial standard are you setting for yourself?
Yeah.
Are you hustling? Hustling meaning, hey, I got this plan. All right, look, I'm tapping in with my accountant. I'm tapping in with my financial advisor, my agent. He's tapped in with all of them. I have a system in place, right? Just like how Felix, you might have a system. Hey, I'm gonna do my warm ups. I'm gonna do my back pedal drills, right? I'm gonna do some bands. I'm gonna do some hurdle work, get my hip flexor strong. Like you have a system,
Yeah.
okay? The principles is the same, just like we do on the field, on our playing field. It has to be the same when it comes to financials. And if we don't, I said it earlier, it's like people are just wishing and hoping it works out. And it doesn't have to be like that. And I guess I asked the question, why? Just why? You could just, hey, ask somebody, tap in. Hey, let me create a system, make sure I'm good. And then again, after you good and structures are in place, then cool. The extra money, y'all can have fun with it. Cool.
Mm.
But that's what those principles are. It's that pregame prep that you have. We need that same type of print, that same idea, that same thought process within somebody. So freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, we get to you, Felix, where it's like, hey, young kid, hey, this is how we do it, right? You may be stepping into that role now. Hey, this is how
Yeah.
we do it. Be a little just do it this way. Coach not gonna like it. Maybe to do something a certain way. I want to look out for you. That's the same way. So I think about me being a version of you, but when it comes to finances, say, hey, I'm trying to be Felix right now. I'm trying to be this upperclassman. Right now, you don't know. And as I work with my student athletes, they get a little older and they start seeing their account climb and climb and climb and grow. And they're like, okay, now I'm getting it. And then we get to the NFL and we can have different conversations, whether that's insurance, annuities. That's a whole other, other things
Yeah.
from a
Yeah.
financial vehicle standpoint. But it's steps just like when it comes to sports, y'all. And then they get more confidence. They're like, hey, can we talk about, this investment opportunity to yeah, there's other things that can happen, but it's just baby steps. So those are the principles, just like there are principles in sport, and you start to grow and you start understanding what maybe your team and your coaches expect from you. It's the same thing when it comes to here. And we want to continue to establish that. So then as somebody's a little older, 20, 30, 40, 50, the foundation is set. And,
Mhm.
and it's from there, smooth sailing.
Okay.
Smooth sailing, yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time. Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
for
you for
coming up on here. What was the quote that you said earlier? It was like a goal without a plan, or a.
Goal, yep. A goal without a plan is just a wish.
Mhm.
Mhm.
A goal without a plan is just a wish, and it doesn't have to be. You
Yeah.
know, it doesn't have to be. And again, I feel like because of that, everybody thinking they're going to make it, or everybody not even thinking, it's everybody moving like they're going to make it, moving around, like spending how you see things. I'm just
Yeah.
like, it's interesting here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I honestly wasn't even know if I was going to share this, but again, being African American, I never forget. As I'm a little older than you guys, but do y'all know what? I'm gonna just ask this. Do y'all know what reparations are?
reparations? I've heard of it, but I don't know
I
what it
definitely
is.
heard of it.
I'm not even gonna go into that conversation, but that's a whole nother one. But essentially, yeah, you guys maybe look it up. This is maybe not the podcast for it, but for the African American community, this is kind of connected to slavery. NIL right now is reparations. The closest thing that we've ever got to it in the world is basically the repayment of African Americans and our ancestors in slavery for building America, essentially. And not to get too deep, but it's real. So it's so hard for me to see, man, this is maybe on the biggest scale that we'll ever see it possibly in America. People who, all minorities, just people of color, period, actually getting paid a lot of money and also at such a young age. And then we're buying it on diamonds. Again, we're not paying us first. We're not investing it so it can grow. We're buying jewelry and cars. We're paying other people who don't maybe even care about us, right? But they make some nice cars.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a deep, and I kind of question and think to myself sometimes, like, man, what would our ancestors think? Like our great-great-grandparents, who maybe was in way tougher situations than us here in this country. So again, I know that got deep, but that's real.
Yeah.
And I don't think we necessarily think about that, where we could technically, and I can get technical with y'all, but it's like we can do the 4% rule, and you guys can look at ChatGPT, call that up, or Google that. But it's like the 4% rules. I say this to a lot of kids, man. If you get to $5 million, and this is the rule that a lot of people talk about, financial advisors, and you only take 4% of what the market makes you. So you get your account to 5 million. Once you get to 5 million, you technically don't have to work ever again. And really, you could probably do it on 2.5 million. But you take 4% of $5 million, that's $200,000 a year. You can live off of that.
Yeah.
And it never runs out because the market is going to make more than that a lot of times. Last year, S&P 500 did 17%. 17. So if you just took 4, the other 13% got reinvested. So now it's 5 point and some change. And it keeps going, y'all. So now that's where your parents can live, your people can live, and you good forever. If you stay under that certain number, everybody's good.
Yeah.
But if we spend it on these other things, we can't get to that number.
Pointless.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
Even if you do it off 1 million, that's still 40,000. Bro, there are some entry-level jobs that pay $40,000. Some of y'all friends are going to get $1 million in college, liquid cash, after taxes, and some million and some. If they follow the 4% rule, they can make $40,000 without working a job. So even if they get a job that's only paying them $60,000, they can take the 4% rule at $1 million and have $40,000 that the market makes them every year, and the rest will get reinvested in, and it'll keep going up higher. So the next year it might be 43,000, 46,000, 48,000, 49, and it keeps going because it keeps reinvesting. The last piece, and I'm happy I'm actually getting on this. Have y'all thought about the mental health side of some of this? I talked to y'all about my friends who were scamming and went to jail, right? While I got into this. So how about some of y'all friends who are making this money now? What happens when they don't make it to the league and then they got to go work a job that only pays $50,000?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Like, nobody's talking about it. It's all fun and games right now. And again, not alarmist, but I'm just like, hey, I'm Unc. Like, I'm the one that's going to say it. I got to say it. I've been there already. I got to say it. So it's like, what's going to happen when they're like, yo, I'm not making $300,000. And I'm going to be real with you guys. $300,000 is on the low end, y'all, for a freshman in football. See what I'm saying? That's the low end. Like, it goes like 300, about 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it only goes up. I talked to, again, Jordan at Clemson. He said he's never taken the athlete's NIL money down. It's only going up.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. But what happens when that goes to, and it stops, and they spent it all?
Yeah.
And he got the Bottega, but in his bank account, it say, hey. Anyway. I'm gonna stop it there, but that's a conversation to have.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. I learned a lot today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take
a point of view.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate y'all. I love what you guys got going on.
Thank you.
I've tapped in with all the episodes.
Oh wow.
So yeah, and I share it too. Like I'll share my friends like, hey, they got this going on right here. So, and again, from Sicklerville myself, so I
Yeah.
had had to tap in. Like I said, I've been spreading the word. So I'm proud of y'all. Keep going. I'll be following during the season. Um, yeah, Felix specifically. You play my position, so we got to tap in too. If you ever want to pick my brain on anything, off camera, let me know. We can talk ball, man.
Sure.
Because you can play. You can play. You can
Thank
play. So, hey, appreciate y'all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Until next time.
Till next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
All right, y'all.
All right. See you. Thank you.
See ya.